Hi world! Today I would like to present Cosmic Embrace, but do this in a very down-to-earth manner. So I would like to actually just share an impulse of our work over the last decade here at this living space. So in order to present the energies of Cosmic Embrace, I find that the best way will be to take us through some guided tour at Prostor of Ghostu, which means space by the forest. This is our living space here, in and next to the woods. So where do we begin with, or what do we begin with? We are standing at the front yard of an old farmhouse, which was a home of my ancestor. My grandparents had a farm and actually a pottery here. And that's the space that called me a little bit more than a decade ago. So it feels symbolical to begin here with the well. That's the old well, and the mosaic of lotus that we made here, reflecting the story of, or actually the mix of all of the stories as the mosaic that are coming from the source. So this is still a source of water here. So it's like one unique source, but then we are all co-creating that mosaic of life, you can say, here on the earth plane together. And as ancient Eastern traditions would say, no mud, no lotus. So let's see how this plays out here. Let's go and begin our tour over the road because it's quite busy, but we will come down in the forest garden and tune in there. This is the first plum you might wish to try. Yeah, I'm feeling some sadness coming here, which is very interesting. In the morning I had such a connected, uplifting experience here in Forest Garden that actually invited me to make this video, this tour. But let's continue now that things settle down. So I'm sitting just at the edge of what used to be the seat of life. The seat of life that was transformed later. But that's actually more just marking the area which we call Forest Garden, Edible Forest Garden. And it's one of the earliest creations since I'm in the space. So it's 8-9 years old here. An old piece of meadow that we are slowly transforming into an, yeah, I can almost say an edible paradise. I really like this place here. And maybe it's right to just at the beginning introduce the biggest influence or the energies that have been coming, especially at the beginning, through this space. And these are Andromedans. These are Andromedan frequencies that are teaching us how to connect and harness with the universal flow. Notice the patterns in nature, in life around us, and create simply for the sake of creating, for the joy of creating. Andromedans carry this deep, at least for my feeling, joy and love for co-creation, for life. So their galaxy runs through many changes. Is the system that is the closest, the galaxy that's supposed to be the closest to our Milky Way. So they're here as some sort of the reflection of how life could be, of adopted species that witnessed many changes, but in every single moment keep evolving, keep growing, and keep expressing that gift of aliveness. Orion's gift of being alive. Yeah, so when it comes to creating with nature, with land here, Andromedans are those that brought me many insights on how to keep going, no matter what happens. Also, we had quite a big shock here in Forest Garden 2 years ago. Strong storm destroyed many trees, but it actually just enhanced the system. So rather than Forest Garden, it became more of the berry garden now. And maybe let's have a look and just see, because the berry season is just starting, and yeah, just some inspiration we can get. Come on. Go have some avalanche. Another story that seems to be reaching its zenith. Yeah, it's funny, here I really basically know every single tree, the story, how it came to be, where or how I got it, the bushes. So this tree was planted by what I call Anastasia method from the book Ringing Cedars of Siberia, which means putting the seed in your mouth and informing with your DNA. So it was planted from the seed, and then it grew, and then we grafted at many points. Albin assisted us, but yeah, somehow the wind broke the tops, then it was still growing, but it seems to be too big of a shock, so we will see if it grows, but it definitely brought many energies here. Thanks, Anastasia. Infinite berries. These are blueberries that you propagated, actually blueberries and the honey willow. But here you have another batch of raspberries. What's nice about this forest garden, this part of the forest garden, is that it also became some sort of the nursery, especially for all of the bushes. You can look there, all of the raspberries. I mean, we cut for the pets, but the rest they go, and then we can give out so much raspberry plants or blueberry and yeah, currant or multiplier walnuts. Here I even saw the plum. That's plum. We have another plum growing here. Rubinia tree coming from my grandmother, from her place. Blackberries without thorns, a good variety from Domen. Yeah, I mean, that's what I wanted to say, like many plants either I received or were given or I took from people that I visited, so it's kind of their energy then just lives here, you know, it's grown. And can maybe capture also the walnut that is there, which was a bigger walnut that was growing. They anchored some energies that were part of the book, The Garden of Love. And then that walnut was taken down by electricity workers because it's under electricity. But it regrew like as the bush, you know, which was a reflection of the starseed energies. The more you try to take us down, the more of us will come. So, yeah, just like so many lessons in this piece of land. Yeah, but as I was mentioning about the flows, the universal flow of energies that can assist as the element of co-creation, so to say. Very practically here the forest garden resolves around the creek and the flow around, so this gives it a shape and also creates a different ecosystem, a small niches, and yeah, it's really a good place to experiment and explore. I came here practically because this was the piece of land that was the least utilized also by farmers here around. It's a farmland, so this is something that I could easily start with and no one was complaining. But I actually want to take the principles from here for what we are creating up for not just the forest garden but for a living space on Golden Meadows. We will come to it, but now let's cross the creek and come to the other side to the field and speak a little bit more about the field work that we are doing. I mean, now it's summer, so we are baiting here basically daily. I wouldn't jump in right now. Yeah, so that's how we reach the field, which is planted this year with buckwheat. What I like about buckwheat, I mean, it's a very special plant, but maybe a symbolical reflection that buckwheat is botanically not a grain, even though we use it also for this kind of purpose. But buckwheat will be botanically more similar to wheats, so to the things that biology considers wheats. But now I don't know how much you can see, but I'm observing many bees. It's in that flowering state, and yeah, another reflection to me still. We continue with Andromedan energies and bees, bees with their hexagons, heptagons, with their symbols that are kind of a making. That's also channeling in the Andromedan energies. So it's a nice landing spot for them, I would say. But maybe let's walk towards the edge and yeah, catch it. But this walnut was planted by birds, or it's just like it was growing, so we cleaned a little bit but left the hops to climb up, so that we have also climbers here. I just wanted to invite you all to a place that is for me this year a relaxation, so a little bit of a field for the field work. That's for me a reminder of the ancestral energies and how people used to grow food. So I mean, we still do some of the crops here, and maybe that's one of the nice things, because we have that luxury that we are not dependent upon what we grow, but we can easily go to the farmer's market or to the store around. But even for these big things, this plant of buckwheat was planted with hands. I like that we always plant our grains or whatever we grow with hands, to at least once, twice per year inform the seeds with our energy and build this connection, that it's not all with machinery. So yeah, it's kind of majestic when you are with the field from the seeds, and then you look at it and it looks like this. So yeah, those are potatoes, potatoes, some beans, pumpkins, but this is there is the most wheats we have so far. So those that don't like wheats, you will find something nicer later. Yeah, I'm really grateful for this rain. You could see it's still cloudy, but we had a morning of rain after 10 days of very warm weather, so that's like a balm for all of the plants. Yeah, maybe you can just show now in the direction that we will walk on the other side of the field. I will keep my mouth closed in between. There is a willow tree that yeah, it's dying. It's actually didn't grow this year, but maybe we can still get some lessons. So we will walk on the other side of the field and then stop there. Maybe one more thing, as we are going towards the willow tree that I said is that it's also an apple tree here that is that, and this one you can clearly see it was eaten by deer. So one way how I protect or don't protect here trees is that I now mostly just leave them. I mean, there you can see I leave a little bit more of the thorns around, so this usually helps first and second year. But it's also interesting to observe, because it's not that deer would just eat everything, but you can clearly see the path. So here there needs to be a path, because last year I had here tomatoes and they were eating also these tomatoes. So that's a way of communicating with the animal, with animal spirit for me right now as well. And I can say that they don't take as much as you would expect. So yeah, I'm happy about that communication and connection. Yeah, like here it's quite a lot, so maybe here was even because here we didn't cut grass. Maybe the baby deer, the mother deer had here babies and tied. This is more a secluded spot for them, because we didn't use anything here, any machines. And there are just now, as we are, so many dragonflies, blue dragonflies, another animal spirit guides for me. Yeah, so some would say it's wildly growing, which is true. Some invasive plants even, but they obviously have some role, something to do here. So I can also mention the story of apples. You see at the back, they're a little bit older. I like to see them as open-hand apples. I planted them years ago. I planted 9 of them as some sort of reflection of this energy. Last year we planted another 18, so that these 9 have a divine counterparts, but not all made it. So some you could see are eaten by deers. So when it all comes into a little bit adult phase, I would be curious how much we have and how are just apples to try. Open hand apples. Yeah. What I feel to share here with this old willow tree that doesn't have any sign of fresh new life anymore. I still left it this year hoping it will grow a little bit, but it's done its job. It's also to share some of the energies that I've been connecting with this field, because in essence this was about producing, growing food. But now in last 2 years, 3 actually, we didn't really gain much from it, because there was always something that happened. Once was hail, that all of the things stayed here. Last year was wind, so we also didn't get spelled out. So we actually brought much more of the seeds here than we took out. So it's a little bit reversing what industrial farming that is here around with all of these cornfields is doing, because industrial field is actually just taking from the land as much as it can. But here we are, I mean, it wasn't intentional, but just the way how it turned out as we go with the flow. We actually in last year's left brought more of the seeds here, which also improved the land, so to say. So also around that willow we planted many trees, oaks, and then the new guardian is walnut. We can stop at the end. It's a young walnut, so that one is already taking that role of being Yeah, speaking of industrial farming, just a big tractor. What was I sharing?
That the young walnut takes over the role of the new
Yeah,
guardian.
as the some sort of guardian or gatekeeper for this place if you come from the road. So here I've been working with energies like Demeter or Ceres, that would be in ancient Greeks, Romans, the goddess of crops, farmers, this type. But actually and then there are different pagan gods, like Pan was also coming here through. But yeah, in some cosmic terms I would call this energy a little bit more of the, let's call them half gods, or they carry divine essences, but it's really that sense of just taking just taking from them that created a disbalance. So a lot of our work here supposed to be in bringing back these energies into harmony, so that taking some of the responsibility from them, and therefore lightening up the space, which is happening just now with the clouds going. So maybe Andromedans and that old land energies will help us to open a little bit more for other cosmic energies and new infusions. Yeah, so for the end, of going from this space, we are just the warmth, sorry. We always do. So that will be a new gatekeeper for the area. And thank you for looking over all of this place. Grow well, little friend, grow well. Still alive, but that's, before I was saying of the Dragonfly, and you know that I'm working with Dragonfly Spirit exactly in this moment. And on the card you can show the card is saying transcend the illusions and lean into the truth, something like this. And that's interesting because just now we entered the road, the old connection, which is so valued and appreciated in this area, in the old villages. The roads connect people, but at the same time they reflect the wings of the old matrix system. And he's stopping just here on the edge of it, and also showing that there are some trash which people ice cream, so that this is cooling down. Yeah, I feel we can still help him by bringing to some greenery. Actually we don't need, or we did. He showed us
taking a break.
the last. He showed us the last. What I was feeling just before seeing it, how powerful feeling it is to kind of just stand on the road like this, and like barefoot, and like without machinery, but has this sense of you're just bringing your own energy to it, like seeing. We see you. Maybe that's already the getting ready for the next stop after we cross the bridge. So here is the bus stop. If people would at some point want to visit us even with public transport, it's doable. They can come at the edge of Pristava with bus. Japanese raspberries. red, like these black ones, but in red color.
Peach.
See, like a little bit that survived the cold winter. And there are also few. They were also all planted from seeds years ago. So there I planted 10, and now, oh, this one is more full. That's maybe the nice thing, like just here you can see, because we had again a late frost this season, and then quite some of the fruits got in the blossoming phase fell off. But it's again what we call the niche, the small ecosystem, because it was protected here by that corners and the bushes, or actually trees there. So quite some in this part stayed. And as you can see, they're guarded. But it's snow, that wasn't in spring. They're guarded by nettles. Marcos, that's your nettle here. It just keeps expanding and growing. Trees and spices, mint grew all around. It's small one, but it's growing slow. But that's the cherry of Kayatan. We planted this when we had a workshop with a group of people, 10 people. And Kayatan was there. He was, I don't know, 1-2 years old, but was laying on the mattress here. I remember his energy. And another visit from there, but this one will survive. I already put back some of the sap, and it didn't go around, so this one can survive. Yeah, so this was a short tour through the what I call now a forest garden. So this path where we are really utilizing this area next to the creek, leaving some wilderness, but then trying to create it to be also very speaking or pleasant for us as humans. The bus is just coming. Do I think we have a visitor? Oh, now it's a school bus. Coming back from the energies from the land, let's go into where or what we started off. So that's more of the side entrance to the old house, and we will be coming into the workshop. So an old pottery workshop. We're just in the process of transforming, remodeling it. Come and check it out. Some people would say that it is a mess here, and I would probably agree. You can check here, because we've just entered a time capsule. So the space was basically untouched, or with a slight difference, for 40-50 years. And I have to be honest, the energies here weren't, and I would say are still not very pleasant. It's also, when I was mentioning the reptilian energy, they definitely had some nest here with all of the clutter that has been lying around. Some of that reptilian energies got stuck here, and we had to call in Draconians to help move those energies. But maybe what's interesting, because we just finished firing the old kiln where we finished the work of our ancestors that has been waiting here for 50 years. It's still pretty full, you can check, pretty full of the pots. We need to get them out. And I'm seeing, oh nice, yeah. I'm seeing one that I feel to take with, and maybe it carries a message for us. So we will come to it later at the end. Yeah, so this star has been one of the first creations, let's call it creations, since my arrival here. It's representing a 2D version of Merkaba as the light body of the energy field being depicted in form of sacred geometry. But what I came to realize later, not at this point, that the energies here that we're speaking through were Sirian energies, and people might have different relationship to it. You might be aware that about the story of Anunnaki, so the elite from the Sirian civilization that played a vital role here also in shaping the story of humanity, creating the Homo sapiens, this form that we are right now here. But not going too much in this story, just reflecting their capacity of energy work to shape the field. And Merkaba here actually represents not the inner field but also the outer field, so they are masters, I would say, in positive and negative way about transmuting the energy field. And as is the story here with that old house, I feel what we are working with here is a big healing of these energies. So those that have transformed, that are realigning, are helping us by taking out the technology, taking out the nests of reptilians, by showing where the energy was stuck, was blocked, and where it needs or wants to move, where it wants to come into the flow, what then Andromedans can amplify, assist. Yeah, so such is the story of our old farmhouse and the Sirian energy in it, through it, being worked with. It's directly next to the road and what I was speaking with Dragonfly reflection beforehand. So it's literally transmuting the old matrix energies. Yeah, that's some of the lessons of the Sirians. And let's go out of it. Let's break this cycle. So now we cross the front yard once again, and we're coming now to one of the fire pits here, and our nice heart-shaped apple chair, but this can serve us to transition into from the lower to the upper. Practically, physically and energetically, we are now at the border between the lower and higher, so we are in the middle field. We need to go through the portal, and yeah, the portal at Space by the Forest is as always reflected by trees, either living trees or just in the shape of the art. But as we enter this portal, let's see where we end up. And now, yeah, one of the things that I found very important when speaking about the energy field and working with the energy, so the lessons of Sirians, is the element of discernment. So when control overrides sovereignty or the freedom of expression, for example. And yeah, I found an interesting message coming here. Stay good, which is the motto of one of the summer exchanges at our place. And it speaks to me into the good-heartedness of the human being. That for me is probably one of the nicest or the most fascinating things about humans. I sincerely believe that in our hearts we all carry a sense of good-heartedness. It might be hidden under the veils of pain, trauma, being unseen, but if you're able to strip it away or to illuminate it, there is always that sense of, yeah, wanting good. So that's, yeah, it's because I'm speaking of the heart, good-heartedness, and there's also heart. So that's probably from some other workshop when they were doing the pottery here and all, yeah. But with this good-heartedness, now we've just changed the floor, the podium, so to say, in the barn. So the secret portal of waterfall took us up here, and I was always fascinated by these three windows. And this was also done by our ancestors before us coming here. They reflect to me the presence of Orion's energies. So what Orions have been teaching me was coming into the state of unity with this element of Holy Trinity, which is actually the element of transcendence. So always when you have a polarization, when you have duality, when you have two seemingly opposite feelings, things, then there is something that creates a bridge, a common denominator to it all. And that is what is reflected by Trinity, Holy Trinity. And that's for me the main lesson of the Orions, considering also the history of their evolution and that celestial realm being known as the place of many galactic wars. But I feel that aligned Orion energies are actually here peacemakers, those that bring harmony. These are the medicine man, woman, druids of the ancient cultures. These are people deeply connected with land, Native American tribes, living with land, with animals. So also their sense of Trinity, living with the Great Spirit, with the land and themselves, or the community. So that element being very present in their traditions. And one of the most powerful tools that Orions also taught me is silence. Not silence as the avoidance, as going away, but as a sense of stoic presence, just witnessing, being fully present, without the need for big words. Yeah, so we are still in the process of bringing the Orion's energies fully here, but this barn has served as the accommodation, as the sleeping place for some people here. It has served as the communal, as the shared space for quite some of the summer exchange, for the events that we had here. So I feel we are gradually bringing that sense of unity as the social life here, utilizing the barn. But there is still a way to go, and I'm really looking forward to explore more of the Orion energy. Just as I was speaking of Trinity with the three windows, I found that acorn heads, so to say, from the oak, but that was maybe also a calling that we connect with the, I can say one of the main oaks here, which also reflects the Trinity, so three oaks in one. You might have noticed that I also changed a t-shirt in between, since we had to charge the camera and we're actually continuing in real time a little bit later. But that's a good invitation to enter another portal, which might be reflected with this falling down actually Geodome. It was one of the first creations since we came to our place. So a space for our tomatoes and for all of the seedlings to start our growing season. But yeah, come on in. The energy that assisted in creating that geodome can be called Pleiadians. So those that came across the Pleiadian energy might notice that it's somewhat, I would say, controversial in spiritual circles. At one hand, it's offering this sense of lightness, love, but at the same time it's very easy to slip into love and light bubble and somehow denying the density or the reality of everything that's down here that we just walked through. But speaking of Pleiadians, I recall memories in my internal journey of coming to this place, to this planet, for some time being in the starship of some Pleiadian civilization. So that's one of the early memories that I recollected here, and maybe the state of our greenhouse is just a reflection of how Pleiadian energy seems to be right now. So something is breaking down. On the inside everything is still working. There is so much life, so much diversity. They are, for me, the librarians of flora here on this planet. And that's how we always start the seasons. So our greenhouse is the space for all of our seedlings to sprout, for divine seeds in all of its diversity, and later being transferred to the garden. So yeah, that's a short stop at the Geodome, at the greenhouse, that needs to be somewhat repaired or maybe replaced, the basic construct, but for this season it will still work. Maybe let's check on the garden and see how the plants are doing. We're just starting the season outside also. There is peace on the garden. Quite literally. We have here garden 1 and garden 2, and on the other side we've been before at the field number 3. So one of the things when you really live with the land for considerable amount of time, garden becomes like really an extension of your intimate space. That's why it felt right for us to have more of the gardens, because every gardener might have a little bit different technique, different way of doing, and we do the big work together. But everyone is then responsible for their own piece, and yeah, just different styles, different gardening, different way of seeing the nature. It's walnut. Let's have a seat under this oak, one of the guardians, as we are entering the forest area. But where we are sitting now is actually a circle, a simple circle made out of logs of trees that have been usually falling or cut down in the woods. But to remain a little bit of their energy, that's where we created what we call a healing circle, with another fire pit in the center. So with this circle we are kind of coming into the front yard of my house. Our house is just behind the back, and that's like, yeah, the extension, the inner one of the first gardens, or just spaces of contemplation here. So maybe I can also speak even here about the energy that co-creates or infuses into this area. This would be Arcturians. Yeah, I kind of like their energy. What to say about them? Very sophisticated. Maybe I can say for a degree even too idealistic in terms that they always yearn towards some higher evolutionary growth, towards some spiritual progression. Yeah, on their own journey, in their own constellation, it is my memory that they've reached the state of enlightened society, let's call it like this, in relatively short amount of time, using also the sense of technology, but technology with nature or with the environment. I don't know how their environment would be called. And that's one of the key benefits that I can also advocate from this energy. So even like now, as we are using the technology, the camera, but it's about amplifying what is there. It's about using it in terms of unity with the existing environment, not going against it, but supporting the organic life, so to say, all of it, not just the humans, of course. So one of the lessons of Arcturians that can act as the spirit guides, but I feel they a little bit gave up upon this role because humans didn't truly listen to them. But still, they are here opening the spaces, traversing the multiverse, so to say, in order to bring some of the higher truths, deeper truths, inner truths to us. Arcturian circle infused in our healing circle. And what you can see or cannot see, I don't know, that's also where we are now expanding that idea of forest garden where we begin. So the place in here is a meadow, is a big meadow, but that we are also slowly starting to plant. So besides fruit trees, bushes, right now we have a nice blossoming grass, a little bit over the blooming season. But yeah, that's a sense of let's call it a natural order. Natural order, yeah, good word. That we want to create here. Before going to the forest, let's go a little bit to the meadow, look at the sun tower and do a circle, and then we will go here behind. Coming here to the Sun Tower, one of our favorites lately, or let's say our latest creation. And it's not just that's actually a home for our ducks and ducklings. Our couple of ducks have many ducklings that are staying here at the lower part of the Sun Tower. And it's yeah, a very poignant space in terms of this is becoming some sense of the pillar for the energies that can actually spread here over the area. Specifically, what we came to notice is the collective field of the Auroras. So the energy that to me works, yeah, some sort of the self-correction mechanism of the universe. So it contains that sense of alignment, of harmony, of love, you can call, but it also has the capacity to come into the given environment, to come in the reality and transform the things that are not in harmony, that are not in alignment with, let's say, with all life around. So yeah, we hope that Auroras here will be able to assist us, because from here we can also see the neighbors, let's say a little bit more we are opening to the society, to the village around and to the town on the other side, so that this can act as some sense of amplifier of the natural frequency here. And yeah, it's also like a space from where, especially if we go up but the stairs are yet missing, where you can observe this area which we call Golden Meadows. So it's more a sense of inner realm that exists beyond distortion, beyond our human senses, and from where especially Hannah is bringing a lot of the insights and practical things to manifest, to bring here. Truk is diligently taking care of the family. Even though he has the freedom to explore, he can go to the pond, but right now he's in the shade. One thing that you can also notice here, I don't know how much you can because he's lying down, but he's a little bit fat, saying with all appreciation of him and of his energy. But this also reminds me of other energy that comes through here, especially since we are making a pond now, a hard pond. And this is the friend from a cetacean family, space whale, that is also, you can call, a fat whale. But he's very kind, very sweet, very loving, very compassionate. But he's whale, so being fat is just a part of his nature. Very wise interdimensional energy that kind of brings that reminder of us as cosmic travelers on this plane. But by reminding ourselves of this, also reminding us of this role that we are here to be a guardians, a caretakers, a stewards of this place. So thanks, Space Whale, for your continuous lessons and gentle reminders. Some of the open space, infinite potential, empty. How does it make you feel? We are not stopping here. Maybe you can have just a brief loop. These energies are still anchoring here, so it might need some time to reveal more. Just a teaser for now. But I have some berries planted in front of the house. You see? Even the thorns, the bramble, will create this year a lot of blackberries. It's a naturally growing variety, not the one that we have in the forest garden. So this looks like a forest house. I guess it's a forest house. Yeah, here I can just briefly welcome you in front of my home and the altar. What to say about the forest house? Maybe what I like the most, or a kind of a special for me, that it has 4 living trees as the pillars, life pillars, 2 oaks in front and 2 spruces at the back, and in between it's a simple copwood structure. That's one thing. And another thing is that behind the house there was all of the forest until 2 years ago, the storm that we were mentioning. And then when strong wind came and broke most of the trees, just these 4 were the last one standing. So that was some divine hand or a touch of grace that spoke to us through the storm, as the house remained basically untouched. And the energies with it, I mean, there are many, especially if you go closer to the altar. But since it's a forest house, one of the most poignant can be the forest people. Some call them Sasquatch or Bigfoot, Yeti. So you kind of can get the image of that a little bit bigger, hairy creatures. I've never seen one in the forest with my eyes, but I could feel their energy, which is very different from what would be depicted in these myths. It's actually very wise, aligned energy. It originates from Earth plane, but I feel on its own evolutionary journey they already reached the cosmos. So when I'm speaking of the cosmic energies, I would count them in there. But what's really nice about them, or yeah, their sense of guidance, that they had their story on this planet. They were are still, to a degree, part of the reality, this planetary reality. So they have really a better feeling, understanding of how things are here, and therefore I like to see them as our older brothers. As yeah, they're not really doing the journey for us, but they can assist and illuminate a lot for us. Yeah, it's like I can say I'm just beginner after now 5 years of living here. I'm just beginner of starting to connect with this energy. Very special, very special. Telepathic. So I wouldn't take you in today, but invite you someone else. Let's just have a brief stop. You can turn off the camera. Just getting a little bit lighter before coming. Welcome. That's the gateway to cosmic embrace. Maybe what I can share about this piece of wood that connects the pillars. It's from the oak that is growing down next to the barn, so that Holy Trinity oak. And this was the top of one of them that was also broken during the storm. And so that we could finish the sanctuary, which has 12 walls, it's a dodecagon, we had to make also the 13 as the entrance one. And this one is to connect, or to, establish the gateway into the new area, into the space. So it's a gatekeeper from here. But maybe I can just invite you in. What can I say after we've entered the forest sanctuary? Welcome to Cosmic Embrace. I feel we did now a short tour, stopped at some points. I've been giving a short impulse from the moment of different star being energies. And at the same time I have a feeling I cannot include all. Now as we are sitting here and I'm holding this rock that was given to me by dragon energies, crystalline dragon energies. Then I'm listening to the wind and birds, and I'm reminded of hatters as their frequency holds together the metaphysical structure of this building. And there is a tree as we enter the forest sanctuary, depicted as the symbol that there is the tree energy all in the space. And it's, just beginning, it's kind of just opening. I looked at the crystals, which energy is there, reflecting, connecting to. But is it really important? Yeah, I would say for some People, it is. We are on the homecoming journey, and I don't feel there is something greater than to feel the embrace of your own soul family, your own home frequencies, your own teeming spirit. So, in order to maybe give a voice, give a possibility of inquiring that there is something more to your human existence than going from day to day, then the talking, or it's not about talking, it's about sitting with, engaging with these energies, then it might make a sense. But at the same time it can also become very complex, I know. It's not to have a mental inquiry around it, but it's more to open the space for the energies to keep working. Yeah, but at the end, it all boils down to being a human. But by being a human, maybe the right way in this way would be to say to being a divine human being. So this will probably make you not normal through the eyes of modern society. And you will have to break through many blockages, beliefs, reactions of others, or also your internal reactions. And this is where what I call cosmic embrace can play a vital role and vital importance. It is a feeling of being held by the universe, if I say it lightly. But it's a feeling, or it's more that awareness of knowing that life, universe itself is something benevolent. That there is a greater intelligence, organism working through it all. That we are part of one, you can call it a big family, cosmic, galactic family. But we all have a different role, or even a different source of origin, a different point of perception, a different inquiry of the soul of the being. So it doesn't mean that we all have to be equal and equally loving and equally feeling that belonging. But it means that we can all carry that sense of unity with life, with universe, within ourselves, and from here explore, connect and share ourselves as part of that great living organism, as part of on this planet Earth. For the end, I feel I would just like to give a voice also to the sadness that I've been feeling already at the beginning of the journey down in the forest garden, and now as we enter. So maybe it's now time to look into the pot that we took out of the kiln. So it's the pot of cosmic embrace, started by our ancestors, probably decades, 4 or 5 decades ago, and finished this season by us. Now we just had to polish after taking out of the kiln still. And Hannah drew a beautiful tree here. But what does it signify? For me, as I'm holding it and remembering, feeling cosmic embrace, it actually brought the sadness for all of the parts that have been lost, that forgot, that were wandering in the meantime. And especially when working with the ancestral land, like the tour we've just done, I feel it's inevitable to come upon the energies that are still finding their way home. So then your individual journey become a journey for everyone. So that's about knitting the threads of the whole lineage down the line, and remembering the first one in the line, people from the star seeds. You can give us another name. And once you not just remember this, but also embody, then it becomes able to realize that the cosmic embrace is there for all of us. If you would like to experience it firsthand, feel very welcome to join us on the direct tour or in the forest sanctuary. With this, ciao!